Good morning, everybody. How's it going? Welcome to Exploring the Car. This is Rock Castaldo here. Drive Time Shaman morning video. People might be driving into work. I'm driving too. I'm going to work. I've been writing my book. I have classes that I've been running that I'm planning. I've been diagramming and writing out, and so much Patreon I'm working on. My comic book. I just did a reading yesterday. Good morning. I just did a reading yesterday that was pretty mind-blowing. I tapped into somebody's ancestral past, and of course I can't reveal names or things like that of specifics, but I literally tapped into an ancestral remembrance of the past that has to do with what's, causing certain spiritual blocks today. And I tapped into something happening in the Slavic sphere somewhere out there, and literally I caught on to an old cattle epidemic that took place, and literally local shaman were kidnapping statues of saints from the church and bringing them without the priest's consent, and bringing them to the herd or to the place and trying to cure the cattle plague, with these holy blessed objects, with these relics. Very interesting stuff. But what I want to talk about this morning is a very interesting topic, and if you go looking back on some of my YouTube videos, you'll probably find topics about Mahavatar Babaji. I was talking about him like a couple of years ago as well. Now, there's a little bit of controversy in the Indian community, the Buddhist, Hindu community, the spirituality community of India over who this man was. Now, I first found out about the name Mahavatar Babaji, or even Haidakhan Babaji, which some believe is his most recent incarnation. Mahavatar Babaji is a timeless being that can appear from time to time, that can manifest himself, appear out of thin air at any age. He has no birth from a woman. He just manifests through thought. He's a sentient being, similar to a sentient being as us, but he has reached a higher dimensional plane, a higher state, where in this spiritual realm there is no time. Now, if you look, I first found out about, like I said, I first found out about who Mahavatar Babaji was in the book by Yogananda. Do I have it here? I probably have it in the back. My bag. I have a bag of my books that I've been working with. That's the only way for me to get information, is that I don't do it on the internet, because first of all, I do believe the internet is like a replicator version of our Akashic, and it's like I don't want to work hard for anything. I just want to get it at the click of a button, or this or that. I get most of my information through what I pull in, and then I verify it with historical facts and things like that through books and through other people's research as well. Because when someone writes a book, most likely, they've put in years and years and years of research to get to that point where they have a book. So I like to back up what I find, my findings, with other people's years of research, and if there's a connection there, that's an amazing thing. So, first time I heard about Mahavatar Babaji was in Yogananda's book. And I read this book in the 90s, I think. It was the first time I read that book. And Babaji, or Mahavatar Babaji, is an ancient being that can appear from time to time as a savior to humanity, is to help humanity, you know, to try to help us. And the Indians believe, and I'm not talking about Native Americans here, I'm talking about like from India, they believe that Jesus is related to this as well. So, you know, that causes a controversy in the Christianity, but when you do a little digging and find out who Babaji was, he is an ancient being that will appear from time to time in the Himalaya mountains within a cave. He'll be found meditating. He'll literally unzip out of thin air and form out of thin air, formed from thought, push himself into matter on this realm. And there's a mysterious being, sentient being that came here in 1970. And he was here from 1970 to 1984. And now I feel this is one of the most truly remarkable beings that has been in modern times on our planet. There's been other people that claim to be linked to the infamous Babaji, like Satya Babaji, but that guy was just a magical practitioner. He was doing sleight of hand magic tricks and things like that. And Satya Babaji was a guy with a big afro who died in like 2011. But he was a farce. He might have had some yogi powers. He might have been able to have a little bit of psychic abilities. But this man was a con artist. He was using little magic tricks to gain devotees. Haidakhan Babaji was not this. I believe Haidakhan Babaji was sent here, and he is a higher dimensional being that took form in physical form, and he saw how out of whack duality is and the five senses are on this planet, and how programmed and corrupted society was in the 1970s and 80s. And he tried to change this a little bit, but only people did was follow him like a god, and it made him sick inside from this. He saw the destruction of the world, and it melted his soul. It melted who he was. He appeared, this man appeared in a cave in 1960 at the age of 18. All right? There's no recollection from anybody. No one's ever seen him before. He said he comes from no mother, no father. He just formed. At the age of 18, they found him in the foothills of the Himalayan mountains in a cave meditating. And he was meditating when they first saw him. Somebody walked into the cave and saw him. They saw him young, 18 years old. He stayed there for 40-something days in that state when he first arrived. No food, no water, nothing, just meditating. This man, now I'm going to go more into it a little bit later, but this man is what led to us having computers. And maybe not completely computers, but like the Apple iPhone, all of this. Steve Jobs, the man who had a lot to do with Apple iPhones and tablets, this man was a devotee of Haidakhan Babaji. He dropped everything of his Western world and went to this guy in India and stayed at his feet for a certain amount of time. Haidakhan Babaji actually gave him a spiritual name and made him a devotee. I think Haidakhan Babaji ended up catching a glimpse of certain things that would happen in the future, and it killed him. And he realized that he couldn't stay on this world anymore. He was dying. And his body literally gave out after 14 years of being in this realm. He appeared at the age of 18. He died around the age of 32 or 33, similar to when Jesus died. And people worshipped him like a god. Now, I don't know if he'll return. Now, I do believe the Himalaya mountains and Tibet are on lockdown in certain ways by China and the military and other people, other elites, to prevent this timeless being from reappearing to help us out. And if he does appear, I believe that he will be quarantined and not be able to leave. And I think that's kind of what happened to Babaji, Haidakhan Babaji. He died after 14 years. I don't think he ever left India. I'm not sure about that. Don't quote me on that. But I feel if he would have left India, it would have been a lot of trouble for him. When he first appeared, he ended up going to the court not a little while later and getting permission to go to certain temples. And the court recognized him as being officially the ancient Mahavatar Babaji. But I know a lot of Yogananda's followers from his book and his devotees, they didn't want to believe that that was the true Babaji that's talked about in Yogananda's book. It was controversy. But I do believe that he was here. And at first I thought he could have been a manifestation of AI. But I've had recent visions, recent things come to me that feel that he was a messenger to help us. And that our world was so corrupted that it crushed him inside. And he was not able to accomplish what he wanted to accomplish. And I think that people only wanted to be guided. They didn't want to be powerful themselves. They wanted someone to worship. And that's not what he intended. I do have some pictures here I wanted to share with you before I go, because I'm gonna share more of this. And guys, more of my videos are available on Patreon. The videos that you see here, there's only a small amount that are available now. I do a lot more available just that are only available for my patrons, that are unlisted or private here on YouTube, and those are for my patrons. YouTube has kind of screwed me in a way. I don't get some of my full donations. They're really, and my subscribers have not moved in over a year. I've been hacked in some sort of way. So I do have most of my videos for Patreon. So these videos that you see, if you like this, my Patreon is where it's at. Like yesterday I did a quick video as well. And a lot of my replays are only available for patrons. So I did a quick video yesterday for my patrons that were about the witch trials of England and English witch trials in the 1500s and 1600s. Yeah, so if you want to sign up, literally you can for $2 a month you can join. It's patreon.com/the mystical spiral. There are higher platforms to join, but $2 a month gets you in the door, and it will get you $20 off my class. My class starts tonight. We had put it off for a couple of days. I have a huge spider bite on my hand that's finally going down a little bit. My whole finger is swollen. I can't bend it too much. But Spirit was telling me to do my class on Thursday night, and that is tonight. And so if you sign up for $2 right now, you could basically get my class, which is going to be 4 one-hour sessions. It probably end up being more than an hour. Usually when I do it, it ends up being more than an hour. But it's going to be 4 classes and then a private class. So 5 classes altogether for only $79 if you're a patron, which is a steal. It really is. It's life-changing information, and it will forever. You can share this with people that will share. You know, it will change people's lives for sure. So his as he aged, you could see that he got affected by the elements in a way. He became more plump. He started to lounge around, you know, and things like this. So he started to become, I think his ego was affected by the elemental forces and by his devotees. And I think he realized this. So when Haidakhan Babaji was first found in those temples, he looked like a messenger of a warrior. Look at this. This was him when he first appeared at a young age. You can see his eyes are spiritually entranced. And he's on one right there. Now, this is Haidakhan Babaji when he first appeared. Now, this is him when he died at the age of 33 in 1984. He appeared in 1970 in a cave, and he was 18, they say. When he died around the age of 33, which is in 1984, and it's weird because as a kid, around that age in 1984, I felt like something was unplugged, literally. And I think the Montauk project coincided with this as well. It finished around those years. Something was taking place as well. This is him at the age of 33 as he passed. Very interesting. You were born in 84. That's very interesting. See, that's your spiritual connection. You were here to hear that today. That's one of your spiritual signs for today. This is him looking very much like Jesus. And who's to say that it's possibly Jesus could not be one of these messengers? This is him at a younger age. Wow, so I was born July 12th, 1978. Very close. Very close. Cancers are very psychic, very emotional, hypersensitive to everything. Yeah, he was very, just like me, very handsome looking and sweet. Yeah, so Babaji, they said he was omniscient. He was able to just know what's going on with you at all times. And people started to worship him like he was like a god, and he was misread. Now, when you start to get familiar with his pictures, you start to feel his presence. And it's said that if you say his name, you will be blessed. Now, I want to get more into this later on as well. We could talk about this because I've said in the past that I thought he was possibly a manifestation of the AI, you know, and he sort of unzipped like a holographic image into this physical matter. But I think it was more than that. I think he was here to fight this, and he was replicated. And some of the knowledge of the telepathic communications and Akashic record that Steve Jobs was introduced to through Haidakhan Babaji, Steve used that to replicate spiritual technology. So we don't have to use our spiritual technology ourselves. We go to a device to plug in to replicator version. And Steve Jobs was used his abilities and stuff he learned, information that he learned from Babaji in a negative way. I truly believe that. Who do we got here with us right now? Wow, my phone's overheating. An old fart. I'm 41 years old, and see, I look young for my age because I've tapped into certain spiritual it's an interesting thing, but I do have, from my near-death experience, I do have certain things that are bad that happen. Like I have a fear sensitivity. I have to go to, I've gone to the dentist to get cleanings and stuff like that. I fear having them I fear having them drill and having to pull things out and things like that. So it's one of my downfalls right there is not going to doctors. I don't go to regular doctors usually. It takes me literally, you have to force me, drag me there to go. It's really bad. and I have hypersensitivity. After my near-death experience, when I feel certain fabrics like velvet, it makes me cringe. Certain sounds are really hypersensitive. Touches are hypersensitive. You know, when me and my wife touch, it's hypersensitive for me. It's like when I'm emotional, it's very intense. Like everything is amplified with sensitivity with me, and that mainly happened after my near-death experience. And my near-death experience took place in 1987, 1988, around those years. And in 1987, I actually went and had an experience when I went to Disney World with my family. In the hotel room, I had an out-of-body experience. And if you look at the Hilton sign that they used to have, I don't know if they have it, it's almost like two crescent moons touching. That is the gesture of power. That is how to open up a gesture of power for a strega. And I had an out-of-body experience where I was surrounded by reptilian-type beings that looked like friggin' Komodo dragon faces with hoods on. And when I had an out-of-body experience when I was in the bed at the Hilton hotel room, and it was very intense. I've talked about it before, and it's interesting, you know, the stuff that we can go into later on. I do want to do more about Haidakhan Babaji. Like I said, my Patreon has more of the juice. Patreon.com/The Mystical Spiral. I'll be talking to you guys soon, and my class will be tonight. Spiral out.